The Ugly Duckling is an iconic fairy tale about a swan's egg that accidentally rolled into the nest of a duck. Being raised on a farm, the Ugly Duckling is mocked and bullied because of his ugly features. The Ugly Duckling longs and hopes to fit in, but he never comes to a place where he fits in with those he has been raised around. Till one day, he leaves his home and finds a new family who finally accepts him. The Ugly Duckling's longing to be different finally comes true when he sees himself in the reflection of a pond and thinks that he was actually transformed into a beautiful swan, even though that is what he's always been. Like the Ugly Duckling, many of us go through life either questioning our identity, dissatisfied with our identity, or so proud of our identity that we never see a need to change, much like the Ugly Duckling's critics. But what makes us question our identity? What makes us dissatisfied with our identity? And what makes us so unwilling to change? Like many of us, the Ugly Duckling put his hope into wanting to be different. He hoped for a better life, and that better life could only be fulfilled with a new identity. The bullies of the Ugly Duckling were no different. They were so proud of their identity that their hope was in themselves. They had no need for community. They had no need for something or someone better than themselves because they had placed all of their hope into their own identity. Even if our hope is in the right place, we still can have a hard time finding our true identity. For example, one hopes to have that kind of friend that you could actually call your best friend. You long for a best friend. You hope and pray for a best friend, and you even go out of your way to invite people to be your best friend. These hopes are good and healthy, but then you find out that the hope is never realized because you did not surrender the parts in your life needed to be a best friend. A friend calls you up to tell you how well she did at her concert, and you become jealous instead of becoming jubilant or joyful. Or two friends get into an argument, and because you've been hurt by this friend in the past, you choose not to put in the work to make things better. Another failed friendship. We may have healthy hopes, but if we do not surrender our bad habits, we begin losing sight of what a healthy identity looks like. You have heard it said, "For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." The Ugly Duckling did have good hopes, hope to be changed, hope to not be made fun of, hope to be included. But his hope, his treasure, was found in something that was only temporary. The Ugly Duckling wanted a change, an external change. His treasure was in something that would not last. Giving up parts of our life for what we hope for is necessary for finding one's identity. This is called surrender. The problem is that we, like the Ugly Duckling, give up or surrender the wrong parts of our lives for the good things we hope for. The Ugly Duckling was willing to surrender his very life, even if it meant death, so to never be made fun of again. And in doing so, he found his identity in something that was only temporary. What we hope for and what we choose to surrender to in life determines our identity. Identity in how beautiful or ugly we look. Identity in how smart or not smart we are. Identity in our gifts or talents. Identity in our sexuality. Identity in our athletic ability. And the list goes on and on. So if you want to have clarity on your identity, ask yourself these three questions. Where is my hope? What am I currently surrendering? And does what I'm surrendering in life line up with what I hope for? Jesus taught his disciples something very important. He said to them, "No one can serve two masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money." Now, Jesus was not necessarily teaching them a commandment, but he was simply telling them a natural law at work, a law that cannot be changed, a law much like gravity. If you let go of something, it will surely fall to the ground. Well, the same is true to our identity. Either our identity will be in Christ, meaning we put our hope in his will and surrender our lives to his will, or we put our identity in the things of this world, meaning we put our hope into the things of this world and therefore surrender our lives to those things in this world. The Ugly Duckling taught us a valuable lesson about ourselves, in that our identity is determined by where we put our hope and what we choose to surrender to. And God has given us the secret to finding our identity in Him by putting our hope into His will and His ways and surrendering our lives to His will and His ways.